talking your own. Either I can give submission based on how you are talking or based on what I want. And if you agree or disagree, you can decide either not to grant me or grant me. So sometimes we have to get the like-minded people. So sometimes when I keep and talk my mind, I can get 2 people, 3 people that we are like-minded. So I don't need to come here and just start aligning myself with different thoughts that will conflict my own. So I speak my own, then I get 1 or 2 people that we are like-minded, and then we can discuss the way forward. So, but yes, every opinion counts, as you.
Hey, Japonj bana, I don't feel like I'm worthy speaking after you have spoken, bana. Anyway, that was a very, very sane submission, Japonj. You're truly a teacher. But this is what I want to say. I don't think, Fabish, what you're looking for is like what we're looking for is not like mindedness. We need liberal thinkers. A liberal thinker is someone who thinks anaendanga direction yake even if nobody's joining them because they believe in whatever they believe in. I'm a liberal minded person and I don't care what other people think about what I think, and I'll die with what I think regardless kama hata kana nafikiria hivyo peke yangu. I don't need people to support me to feel like I fit in. I don't want to fit in. I want to stand out. And if people say we are going south, I'll go north because I know what I'm going to do at the north. So that's being liberal minded. Number 2 is I want to touch. I didn't see a reason why you had to drop the real Joe. The real Joe was making very important points. I didn't find any tangible reason for dropping him. I felt you let your emotion take over you, but that I just needed to put that out. He didn't really deserve to be dropped. But anyway, the space is yours. You are liberal-minded. You have to do whatever you have to do. Again, is the fact that we think differently doesn't mean we don't support the movement. I'll reiterate whatever Kowino said, and I'll also reiterate whatever Daria said. Daria, thank you so much for coming up and speaking up because you really spoke my mind. In other words, before I got emotional here, when I got here, things were just chaotic. And Kowino came in and instilled some sense of reasoning that I could not withstand at that particular point, but oh well, we are here, we are different. And guys, we don't have to look at life the same way to feel like we fit in. We have the right to run differently. I have to make my own decisions at the end of the day. At the end of the day, ana respond to serikali saizi, si hata mama yake ama baba yake. So let's respect each other's opinions. However, let's not try to push people to think the way we fit in, we think, if that makes sense. Again, is on the movement, Eustoria, what's the solution? What's the solution? I think that's some sort of, you're trying to fit someone in your box. You're trying to direct the conversation in a certain way. Ukifilina go in a different way, you try to interrupt them because they're not saying what you want to be told. We're not here to be told what we want to hear. We want to hear the truth. And the truth doesn't taste any sweet. It's bitter. And that's just the nature of the truth. It will never be sweet. So, as I land, I want to say that we are in this mess as a country. We're in this mess as a nation. It is only us who will fix it, and we'll have to think of different strategies to fix this mess that we are in. If you climb up a hill, and rather if you go to the gym and unainua chuma, unainua 15 kg na inakulemea, you need to find a different strategy of probably ukule vizuri. Hiyo ni strategy, kula vizuri, uende gym kama uko energized, unakunywa maji, utainua hiyo 15 kg. But if you're trying to inua this 15 kg the same way you do it every single day and expecting different results, then I think that's so far-fetched, So if we've tried the streets, we've gone to the streets, and I'll stay with this as I'll die with this idea. I will not support the streets because I tried the streets. I went to the street not once, not twice, but I saw what it bore the fruits it bore. And Koino said something very important, that hiyo story ya streets ilikuwa viable back then. Right now, ili serve purpose yake. Saizi, it's not serving any purpose anymore, because we've seen the advantages, we've seen the disadvantages, we've seen the consequences, and we've seen what it has led to and what it cannot lead to. So it's only right for us to sit down, re-strategize, and say, guys, we've tried option A. Option A is not working. Why don't we try option B and try it from this certain direction? But you don't just push people. Let's try option A. It has to work. Let's not be micromanagers. And that's why companies fail, because they tried one mode of whatever the same way every single day, expecting different results. So tukue wajanja kidogo, tukue na akili kidogo. Siyasema mna akili, but tukue na hekima kidogo sasa to apply hekima, and we see where it can get us. The fact that I don't reason like you doesn't mean I'm your enemy. I'm not your enemy. I'm just a Kenyan like you, with a Kenyan ID, who wants the best for the country. And that's why I was on the front line from the very first day when the movement began. And I was, yes, let's storm the streets, because we had not gone to the streets. Let's storm the streets. And it only got what it got back then. Right now, right now, hapana. And like I said, when I say the things I saw on the streets, see it in a self-fear, I'm just telling you the reality. I like looking at life from the reality point of view. See stories are Jabba. Thank you very much. I think it's Kowino's time. Thank you guys for listening to me. Great evening.
Thank you, Ayo. Thank you, Fabish, and thank you, Japonj. Japonj, again, I also didn't want to come after what you said, because that was just excellent. Before I respond to Daria, I want to say that the fact that we can die of malaria in a dispensary in Ugenya or Busia or Karachuonyo in Homa Bay or anywhere else doesn't mean that now we should go looking for death. The fact that death will one day get us doesn't mean we should go looking for death. That was, Fabish, I didn't like that analogy. That even if we will not die on the streets, we will die maybe because there are no medical facilities. It doesn't mean we should go looking for death now. Secondly, Daria, first, I'm not a Raila sycophant. I don't support Raila. I voted for him, yes, in the 2022 general election. That we parted ways when he said Kurazake zimeibiwa, because I was just tired of that narrative, nimeibiwa. So right now, even if Raila was to be in the 2027 general election ballot, I will not vote for him. But I can bet my balls 60% of the people who voted for William Ruto, if they see Raila in the ballot, they will vote for William Ruto again. That is if those are the two, if it's a two-horse race like the way it has been. Now, back to what you were saying, I said last night about in my space, which I agree, I said, when I said I wanted Raila to win the AUC chair, because I feel like personally, and this is my opinion, I'm not forcing it on anyone. Everyone has the right to want anything for Raila. If you want him to lose, that is on you. If I want him to win, that is on me. Me, I want him to win because I feel at least he will not have those power games that he usually plays in the Kenyan politics. We should not forget he still commands a base. We can say all we want, that politics is done, but he still commands a base that there are people who still listen to him. If you tell them vote this way, they will vote this way. Now, when I said maybe when you are saying he's a problem and now we should make him an African problem, that is not what I said. I basically asked someone on the space. We are saying Raila doesn't have a good manifesto for Africa. Daria, do you know the previous 4 AUC chairpersons? Do you know them, like by names? Like right now, offered, you can just say, I know this person, this person, this person. Daria? Well, I don't know if Daria is listening, but I'm sure in this space, everyone who is here doesn't know like even the last 4 African AUC chairs, from Amara AC, Alpha Umar, Kona, Jinping, and Zuma, the South African lady. That alone, we don't even know what their manifestos were when they were campaigning for that seat. We don't know how they won it. We don't even know them by names. Even the current one, Musa Faki, we don't know what her manifesto was. Even Amina Mohammed, who was Kenyan that time when Uhuru was campaigning for her, we didn't know what her manifesto was. That one I can bet here. We didn't know what Amina Mohammed's manifesto was when she was campaigning for that seat and beaten by Musa Faki. Now we know Raila's own because he is Raila. And now we feel his own is not suitable for Africa. But we don't know what the previous ones have done for Africa. What have they done for Africa that we can come to this space and say? I'm not championing for Raila, maybe because he's Luo, or because I come from a certain block, or because I've joined ODM like Favish has always purported, or because I want to vie for Ugenya MP as Favish has always purported, or because I have sight in leadership. No. But I'm feeling his absence in Kenyan politics could be a win for the Gen Zs and millennials going to that 2027 ballot. Why? Because that Nyanza base will be free to be occupied by even that candidate that we want to win that seat. Those will be votes that anyone else can get. When Raila is there, he can command even 60% of those votes to go to his preferred candidate, whether it's Ruto, whether it's himself, or anyone. Now, assuming if he is not there, in that if he's not here playing those cards, because the AUC chair, when you are there, terms and conditions says you cannot participate in politics in any country, even your very own. Huwezi enda kusema I'm supporting this person, huwezi enda kusema ODM na sasa ODM ipatie ticket. No, he will not be able to do that. Now imagine a vacuum. Those Nyanza votes, vacuum is maybe the cost votes that usually commands a vacuum. Those are up for grabs by the political, maybe by the candidate that the Gen Zs will be rooting for at that particular election. We can say Africa is a bigger problem, but anyway, are we what is happening in Congo right now? Is Raila the cause of what is happening in Congo? Is it the cause of the coups that are happening in West Africa and any other country? Is it the cause of why Museveni has been in power for 80 years or for 50 years? He is not. Let us deal with our own politics first, clean our country, then we can think about Africa. Tusijifanye ni kama sisi tunataka kuclean maybe Africa. And that is just my opinion. That is just my opinion. Everyone else can have their own opinion. But I feel like Raila's absence in Kenyan politics could help us beat Ruto in the 2027 general elections. That is my opinion. It could help us. I could be right, I could be wrong. Maybe if he loses, it could also help us beat Ruto. But I want to see how if he loses, it can help us beat Ruto as well. Mimi na feel, sisi yeye akiwin, inaweza tusaidia kubit Ruto. But pia kama mwenye akona ile idea ya asipo win inaweza tusaidia kubit Ruto, you can sell me that idea. That's why we are here, to share ideas. I don't want a point yenye Japunji akisema idea mwenye sisikilizani nayo, naanza kumtusi, naanza kusema amenunuliwa. Maybe hata ni mimi nimenunuliwa. We don't know who has been bought. I cannot say Dari has been bought because yeye anataka Raila lose. I know. That is not a reason to make a be bought. Hiyo si reason ya yeye kununuliwa. I know how we have been with her in different spaces, and sometimes we disagree, like she said. But I just want to listen. That is my opinion. That's why I'm saying I'm not forcing it on anyone, absolutely on anyone. Siwezi sema we because mimi na feel hivi, we pia unafaa feel hivyo. Now, back to our very own. I want to agree with the Ayo said lastly that Fabish, when someone is saying something you disagree with, unamwambia tupe solution. I love venye Dari ameweka. Amesema siku atafeel revolution imepick the way it picked on the 25th June, she'll book a ticket and come. But she will not be here telling people to go to the streets, and she's not leading by example. We can say that, oh, maybe you are funding and everything. But if you fund me, then in the evening, Ayo akuje space aseme rest in peace Kowino. What have you gained? What have you gained? Tusiseme hatuogopi kifo. I'm not selling people fear again. But tusiseme hatuogopi kifo. If you want to know tunaogopa kifo, go to the street. You will see tear gas ikirushwa, tunakimbia. Why are we running if we do not fear death? Bullet ikipigwa, tunatoroka. Why are we running if we do not fear death? We fear death, and fear again is a weapon sometimes. That is what gets us to the street there. You fear that will I get back or not? So the fact that we are saying tunafaa ku avoid death doesn't mean that tunasell people fear. Again, Fabisha said, when you said about military, like we should be radical, we form military and to combat abductions, I said it is sweet on the tongue. That is sweet. It is too sweet to be true, and it has not happened.
I think I've given you people enough chance to express yourself. That is how I operate my space. You cannot just come here and campaigning for Raila. Na ndio sababu nikisema kwamba you are conflicted. I just wanted you to come and expose yourself. It is very clear, but you are just hiding. Alafu unakuja unaanza kutusia uoga, sijui. We kama unaogopa kufa weka. Lakini waacha kuwa kila wakati unakuja ukisema and I don't bring solution, naanza kuambia watu ati Raila akienda. Sasa Raila akienda EU, nao anapigia Ruto simu kina Joe, kina Mbadi akiwaambia support huyu. You are not making sense, bro. And hii mambo nakuja kutuambia hapa like you are, you know, Jabonji, this is things that I have to keep on talking because that is how I do things. We cannot just get a platform to be lying to ourselves. Na hatuwezi kuja kujidanganya tukisema kwamba kuna watu wamenunuliwa. It is reality. You cannot read more than this what you are seeing here. Mtu kuja kukuambia unajua Ruto wanted to instill fear on Kenya so that you cannot be able to talk. And that is why the agents are driving that narrative exactly 100%. Kuja kusema unajua hatutaki kuhudhuria mazishi, hatutaki kufanya nini. That is exactly what Ruto wanted and it is playing out perfectly by the manifestation of mtu kama Koino. Exactly, and I push that agenda ambayo Ruto alikuwa anataka. The reason why Ruto was abducting people, not just because he wanted to kill to be happy, but to instill that fear. So now we have the agents of fear mongering going around. Koino, you know, mimi nitaongea, watu watajudge wenyewe, lakini based on your actions and ile vitu ambao unakuja kutuzia hapa, that is exactly what Ruto want to play. Ukisikia mtu wote anakuambia we need to fight Ruto spiritually, Ruto is not a ghost. Ruto is a human being, physical human being. Ukisikia mtu anakuambia unajua kumuondoa Ruto tutafanya mpaka 2027. So wale watu ambao hataki ngoja 2027, they can continue with the agenda, lakini waacha kila wakati kuwa unauzia watu fear na kusema you don't want to die, you don't want to do this. Kuna watu wamefuatwa nyumbani even without going to the street, even by you talking here. Watu wamefuatwa nyumbani, they were not on the street. Kesho hata ni Fabish anaweza kuwa anafuatwa even without me going to the street. But ukikuja hapo unatu lecture telling us how you know. Unajua unawapatia time mulecture vizuri and at least expose yourself. I wanted you to come and expose yourself na kuja hasa kuuza agenda Raila, because when I said Escovino, I know you are working for Raila and that is why you are conflicted. That is why unafanya hizi zote, because you have to take orders from somewhere. That is very clear, like day and night. You can lie to others, but you cannot lie to me. I have been in this game for a very long time and I can know when someone is pushing different agenda. We don't have to be in the same platform. We don't have to. But that is the point of view that I'm seeing you, because you are not even here to give a solution. You are just there to tell us how powerful Raila is, that Raila have to go so that Kenya wanaweza kujifanyia maamuzi. That is how you have glorified him. And that is why you are campaigning for him, literally. But now you are here. So,
question,
Daria, you are not here to advocate for anyone.
No, I was going to ask him a question.
So someone is coming to campaign here, no need even to ask him. He already exposed himself. Someone is coming here to campaign for someone differently.
Yeah, no, but what I was asking was like, so that way you can also help me be able to make a judgment if what you're saying is who he is. Let me just ask, just give me a minute. So, Escovino, do you think actually that he is the one who is qualified for the job? Like, of all the candidates that you're seeing that have been presented, he's qualified for the job?
He already tell you kuwa haujui manifesto ya the other four. Amesema haujui even their names. he already answer you that you don't know even their name. So in other short, he's trying to tell you that he is the best candidate because he has already seen his manifesto. Those are the things that he's coming to sell here. So as Kowino, please, Bana, be real. If you want to campaign for someone, if you are doing work for Raila, you know, be bold enough. Work a space now, say Raila for this, Raila for that. Wacha kujificha and start meddling the affairs. And when people are talking and you're saying, oh, you know, we have to listen. My voice is different. We are not talking of your voice is different. We are talking of things that can work for this country, and we have to unify our voices. And when you have divergent voice because you have your own self-confliction, then you should stand by it. Na waje kuja kutuambia tuko pamoja. Yes, Lyson. Then naona we have our brother NMSQ.
Maybe I'll just be very brief so that we can allow others to talk. As I said earlier, you know, if we are going to, there's a reason why in this country, even the liberations that have been fought, it's never been fought by everybody. People have a different way to look at things. And if you look, and we come, this is part of our cultures, it comes part of our culture. It comes, and that's why Gen Zs are very different, because their culture is a bit more liberal and they have not much hang-ups like many older generations who have been influenced by their tribes. But if you look at culturally, even how this independence was fought, even within, for example, the Kikuyu community itself, there were people who were going to sell out. And how they were doing it was very simple. They were listening to the people who are organizing the movement, and they'll go back and say, no, but we cannot kill whites as a way of solving the problem of colonization. We are not going to allow people to be killed. And most of these people came out later to be rulers because they went to school. If I talk about the senior chiefs, all of them, their children went to school, and after independence, their children were co-opted in government. Yet their fathers themselves were part of the administration of colonialism. So, as I said earlier, in revolutions, nothing changes. The game is always the same. How people look at things is so different, because some of us believe that to get Ruto out will require some very, very drastic things to be done, but not by everybody. But when it's ripe, everybody may come in, but we may not agree in the beginning that this is the way to do it. So that's why we're saying it should be open, and you're saying people should give their solutions. What can be done in your local may not necessarily happen in Kisumu, may not necessarily happen in Mombasa or Kayole. So people should localize their problems because of how they feel the pain of this government. That way we're having a discussion. But to have a uniform space where we're agreeing on what to do, we'll have a difference, because particular cultures have this fear of blood. Particular cultures have no fear of blood and death and killings. And this is very natural because of where we come from. And that's why I gave an example earlier, why nobody has ever conquered Afghanistan. For those who are here earlier, I said, Afghanistan, people have tried to conquer Russia, China, US. All these people have tried to conquer Afghanistan until the US surrendered the other day and left so much equipment, despite the multi-billion equipment and technology. And the reason is very simple. The culture of the Afghan people and the terrain, you got to understand the culture of the people. Those are people who can hide in caves. They can slaughter a cow and hide in the cave for a whole month. So before you, even if you keep bombing outside there, they're okay. But they will ambush you, and they'll ambush the enemy when you're hovering in the choppers. And the terrain is so mountainous. Even Alexander the Great himself died on his way out there. So what I'm saying is, even in Kenya ourselves, we have the same thing. Nothing is different. Our cultures are so diverse. So we need to understand that our culture will influence how we think and how we air our things. One of the things I don't get, and I'll try to say from my point of view, when you're in these public spaces and you're a fighter, you don't come here to show weakness. The moment you show weakness, it's like we are telling the whole world that, oh, we are fearing this, we are doing that. We should be able to try to refrain and keep ourselves to our strength and the achievement, to encourage the movement, to encourage the people to be able to participate, or to come up with alternatives on how to do things. If William Ruto was to speak out about his weakness in public, of which you know very well, he knows there are weaknesses. And you saw the other day, even his bloggers, Akina Laya, saying, we have been trying to advise the president in private. Now he's acting. Of course, it is a strategy. We must try to keep some things private in public forums like this. It's like you're going to tell your children, you guys, today, I'm sorry I don't have any money, you're going to sleep hungry. Even when you don't have money, you cannot tell your family, this month I don't know what you guys going to eat. You leave your house and go and tell them, I'm going to try and make sure it's difficult, but I'm going to work hard to try to see what will happen. That is how the spirit of liberators or people who fought for colonial imperialists were able to sustain their movements. So if we come to these spaces to castigate each other, to show that me, I've seen so many deaths, I cannot go to the street. Well, it might be true, but in these public spaces, let's try to refrain from calling out some of these weaknesses within ourselves, because we have DM. You can directly message people or even call them through Twitter and talk and square out your issues. But coming to these public spaces and mentioning names and putting dirty linens here is not helping the movement. Unless it is necessary, we should maximally try to avoid it. As I say again, we come from very different cultures. Some cultures were warriors, others, like I'll say in Kikuyu customs, the women contributed more in the movement than the men because they went through too much atrocities. They were the ones who were raped, but they kept quiet. They were the ones who were able to sneak food to the fighters, and they kept quiet when the other people came. After even independence, their women had many children, sired from different abductors and other people who came to their empty homes. But the men, when they came back, they never discussed about where did you get these children from. They assimilated and moved forward. So in this journey of this liberation, many things will happen. As I've said earlier, nothing changes. The movements will be the same. There'll be betrayers. There'll be people who are not sure. There will be hang-ons. There'll be people who want to take the glory. There'll be people who are here to look for numbers and followers. But there are people who are very clear, who want a better Kenya. Those who remain wanting a better Kenyans, let us focus on the gains that we are making on every move. And where we have made a mistake, let's try to look for a better way of correcting each other instead of looking like we are gang raping or having an egoistic match that doesn't really mean anything. Because in this spaces, everybody is here. So that's my just word of God. We are gaining, we are not losing. The house of Scad is coming down, but will only come down if people are able to can without necessarily expecting flowers or expecting stand out.
Yeah, asante Lyson. Yeah, thanks Lyson. Wacha tuende kwa the new speaker, NMSQ.
Fabish and the rest. I hope you guys mko sawa.
Tuko sawa NMSQ, karibu.
Okay, thank you so much. Unajua nimeingia hapa, nimekuwa nikiobserve this conversation almost since it began, and I really love the way we are handling each other. We are calling...
Is it me or I hear nothing?
No, we can hear. Maybe you drop alafu you request again, Daria.
Okay, so Kenya nasema ni we're trying to call a spade, not a big spoon, and a spoon, not a small spade. And Kowino, there's one thing I want to correct you. And I'm a very observant person. And before I speak, natakanga niongee from the entire point that I understand the whatever tunaongelelea. And I want to be very specific. Kwa hiyo, I don't know, I won't call it a beef between Koino and Fabish, but I really like what Fabish is saying, to be honest, because that's the reality we are all trying to avoid. Raila ni mzee. Koino hakuna kitu Raila anasaidia. Whether Raila is in Kenya, whether Raila is anywhere, there's nothing that man is going to help us. And I want us to stop being political toddlers. We're thinking politically from a local perspective. Wakati jana Ruto cancel the Adani deal, all of us are just shouting, it's the noises that we've been making here and imefanya Ruto cancel the Adani. And Ruto was very specific. The reason why he cancelled that Adani deal, it was because of those influence from other countries. And when he said other country, it's only one country where Adani was inducted, that is the US. It happened yesterday, Ruto akakuja cancel. Nataka tuangalie this thing from a political perspective, global political perspective. Ruto made that move not because of the noise you're making here, but because kuna some new sheriff in town, especially in the US, that is Trump. And since Trump was elected as the president of the US, a lot has been changing to in Kenya. Another thing that has changed in your story is Haiti mission. And I can tell you for a fact, hiyo mambo ya Haiti nako cancelled again. Because the ideology yenye Trump ako nayo si yenye Biden alikuwa nayo, yenye alikuwa na influence Ruto anatucontrol hapa na kina Bill Gates. It's a different thing that is happening right now. Now, when Ruto alikuwa ameenda US, there's something that was very common to anaongelea na NATO or NATO ally, however you pronounce it. One thing I'm very sure, the majority of us, hata tujui what is NATO, ni nini, you're just saying a NATO ally. You don't know what it means to be a NATO ally. And I want to refer you guys to go and read what's called the Washington Treaty. The Washington Treaty will bring up the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. That's the NATO yenye mnaongelelea kila wakati. When Ruto was there, then wakasema Kenya will be a NATO ally. And actually it was just a pledge. We were not declared. But since we have very stupid media here, inakuja na tudanganya we are already declared. No, we are not declared as a NATO ally to the US. It was a pledge by the former president of the United States. Right now we have a new president in the United States. And what does it mean to be a NATO ally? You know, NATO as an organization, I think about 30 countries from North America and Europe. And this country, they help each other to sustain power. And even if you read their agreement, they are very precise politically and also in terms of the military human resource. Politically. So anything that's happening right now, it's politics. Politics. And I can also tell you for sure, Ruto will lose 2027 elections. That is a fact. Because the outside powers are even more than whatever noise tuna make up and down. Now, what is my stand, mambo ya streets? We need to go to the streets. Wale watu wako maju, just do whatever you're doing. Mimi, I won't say that at people who are abroad, they are inciting us. They are not inciting us. What option do they have? I've heard some people telling them, what option do they have? They don't have any other option. They only doing what they can do. If it is sponsoring people here, kama ni kutuambia through the media, that's what they are doing. They are doing their best. So stop telling people that they must come to the street for you to feel that they are real part of this movement. No, that's not how it works. Majority of them, they are in the US. And actually, it's very funny because unapata hata wala tunyako maju, they used to go to the Kenyan embassies. Tulikuwa tunawaona wakitoka to the street. That is the street huko mali wako. And whatever noise they're making there, they're making wherever they are, it's having an impact. So you guys stop this divide and rule tactics, because I'm starting to feel like maybe the state has realized those people who are in abroad, at least they have something to send us to print those posters, to do whatever you're doing. So they are feeling that influence, ndio inafanya huku tunakuwa even more stronger. So you guys stop these divisions. Manza kuleta hapa hivi. It's sickening, it is sickening. Many people who have been tumekuwa tukiongea since this thing started. Mimi, this is almost the third week kama sijakuwa nikiongea, because ilifika point I was really tired, because all of us, we are having a political perspective of an infant. not to ridicule watoto wadogo, but tunatumia akili ya mtoto mdogo kufikiria politically. We are seeing things as they happen. We know very well. Nimesikia mwingine anasema hapa, just get your idea and wait for 2027. No, we are not going to get our ideas and wait for 2027. We are going to get our ideas and start planning for that 2027. And whoever will be there, as long as it is not Ruto, because Ruto has shown us what he can do with power. Nimeona mtu akisema, kuna mwingine anasema we need solution. Hatutaki Ruto. Ukileta mwingine niliona juzi watu wakibishana kuhusu Matiang'i. When someone suggested Matiang'i, then again it was all about why Matiang'i should not be the president, not why he should be the president. And the reality is, when you compare these two people, I'm not campaigning for anyone, literally. I'm just giving you a comparison why we are using infant minds to solve these political problems that we are facing. And in politics, all we want, the reason why tunalia hapa hivi, because we want equality, equity. Tunataka ufeel ukienda shule ile pesa mzazi wako analipa through tax, you are feeling it. Watu tuko na watoto, we want to see things moving on swiftly and smoothly. That's what we want. We don't care who the person is. We don't care the tribe of the person. All we care is someone who can deliver. Someone who can deliver. And who is that person who can deliver? And this is politics. Politics is in the okote mtu uko nyuma umlete hapa tuseme now we want this person to be our president. Someone you've never seen him holding any particular position of power. Let us compare mtu kama Ruto na Matiang'i. Matiang'i alikuja uwizi ya KCSE ilisha, that's a fact. Hatuwezi pijana. When Matiang'i was there, at least there was some respect to the government. That's a fact. When Ruto was the president, at least we can see something. When Ruto is the president, there's nothing we can see. This is a day and a night. We can't compare the two. Totally different. What we need, we just need a better person. We don't need ule mtu mwenye yako 100% perfect. There's no one who is 100% perfect. Na kama kungekuwa na mtu mwenye yako 100% perfect, then these systems of check and balances, asiju kuna judiciary kwa zingekuwa, because ukisha elect president is perfect. Ukichukua mtu is perfect. No one is perfect. So my point is, let us continue what we are doing. Let us not stop it. Let us continue educating people. Civic education si lazima nitengeneze hapa space today. Mimi kama MMSQ na kuja hapa na space now I want to teach about the constitution. No. Any chance I get, I teach you people. Right now I've gotten a chance to explain to you what does it mean to be a NATO. Ni nini? NATO ni nini yenye mnaongelea NATO or NATO? Ni nini? Mnasikia tu na NATO. Ale, what is it? What does it mean? What benefit does it come with? What impact does US elections have on Kenya politics? Those are the simple things we need to be doing. So that is civic education. Lakini sisi siasa za chora mnakuja hapa kutuambia mambo ya Raila, atoe Raila should not be, ati mbona Raila anafind AUC, and muulizo hapa swali, nani alikuwa anajua hiyo AUC position? No one knew. No one even knew the watu wenye walikuwa the former AUC cha people. No one knows them.
Oh, I knew.
That position is very insignificant. Daria, I've said majority of us didn't know that. So that position is very insignificant. Any impact on us. Like, we don't care whether Peter, whether Anguke, we don't care. All we care is about our lives here in Kenya. All we care is about our jobs here in Kenya. And I want to say this, and I know it may sound very personal. I think we have a problem with our friends from the other side of Nyanza. Majority of them, not all of them. When you talk about Raila, juzi nimekosana na mtu because I talked about Raila. No, Raila is not a solution. He has always been there. He has always made a handshake in all this government. What advantage ama what benefit ushaipata from such? Nothing. So you guys, you need to know that we are in times that are very changed. Si kama kitambo. Hizi siasa za division hapa mnatuambia hapa sijui tuhitaji Raila hapa sijui tunahitaji nani hapa. They are very useless and baseless. The only thing you can do right now is what you can do best. Take your ID, take your voters card, continue making noise wherever you are. That is the only solution you can have right now. Kama watu wanapanga kuenda street, let them go. Don't stop anyone. Stop selling people fear. Unaambia mtu usitoke nini? Why are you selling fear? Na kina Koino nyinyi nakumbuka mlikuwa mna make noise hapa sana. Mkikuwa pala utari because you decided to go there. Now imefika time mnaanza kutuambia hapa usitoke street, angalia yule mwenye ako na biashara, sasa now tunataka tuende kwa pale Hell's Gate, Heaven's Gate tuombe Ruto atoke. It can't happen. Just do what you can do. Kama mtu ako majuu, achana na yeye afanye Kenya anafanya, asaidie vile anaweza saidia. Si kila mtu atatoka street na si kila mtu ako majuu. But what matters is that we are all Kenyans and we all want a better Kenya. That's what matters. But stop coming here, mnaanza kuambia wale watu wenye sijua kwa majuu, oh, they need to do this, they need to do this, ushaiwaona kwa street. No, that's what for me it doesn't matter. What matters is let us make Ruto akwe very uncomfortable. Akikuja X anapata kwa attack, akikuja akienda na ndege sijui kwa US anapata wale watu wako wamechachisha zaidi. That's the only thing we can do right now, because right now you realize we have a president mwenye whatever he says, that is it. For how long have we been crying about that Adani? How many times have you seen the CS for energy defending that Adani? But when Ruto says, now I cancel this, you are all here clapping. You let us now state. What? You people, mwache kutumia akili ya utoto kufikiria politics. You don't even, you know, there's what you call a literal interpretation of something. Then we have what you call a golden rule. You can't even apply that literal interpretation. Directly, I'm canceling this because of the forces, foreign forces, not because people made noise on Twitter, not because Atikoina alikuja akasema sijui Raila ende UC, not because sijui Fabisha alikuja. No, because this guy knows hiyo chuma yake ya politics ya kumpiga iko hapo, ishawashwa tayari. Because without money he's nothing. Without support from this foreign country kama US, this Papua country, he is nothing, and he knows this. And trust you me, in 2027 this guy will lose election because he has no credibility whatsoever mbele ya any other person. Hata hapa Kenya, hata ukiniambia nipeleke nionyeshe kisemenye Ruto amechimba, hakuna, nothing. There's nothing that Ruto has touched in this country that has bore fruits, from education to everything, collapsing. Juzi amekuwa kisifu Adani. What happened? In a few months atasha change the stand, and if he said it is going to be cancelled, inakuwa cancelled immediately. So let us have a political mind and think deeply, not these easy politics za utoto, politics za Kisumu, politics za Nairobi, politics za Kanairo, hizi politics za hapa chini za kusema Raila this. Must the name Raila appear in any discussion yenye tuna have? Must the name Raila appear in anything? Must you defend Raila? And I'm very sure even those who are defending Raila here, si ati wanalipwa, because I can tell you, when you come to politics, a politician will only give you money if you are relevant. And I can tell you for sure, 99.9% of people here, they are very relevant to these politicians. So the noise you're making here, you're very relevant. Unampelekea nini? Wewe Koino ukidefenda para Raila, unampelekea nini? There's nothing. Si ati wewe sauti yako itafanya Raila ashinde hiyo AUC. You're not the one who's going to vote. Na si ati sauti yako ndio itafanya ati Raila ashinde nini. All of us are politically irrelevant to akina Ruto, to akina Raila. So you guys, we are on our own. And when we are on our own, let us strategize our own fight. Tusiwache kupigania Raila. Raila is too old. Raila kona kila kitu. Yani Raila sisi akona malenye kona like even 10 generations. Wakona kila, wao hata struggle kuenda shule. But you hapo unasema Raila this, Raila that, Raila this, Raila that. And even when you come hata una generational wealth, hata ile yako yenyewe hata maybe kesho juu kama itafika. But we're just shouting at Raila this, Raila that. So don't stop us going to the street. Don't stop people who are working abroad supporting us, because it's support that we need. In reality, I drop the mic. Nikikuwa na maneno mengine nitasema, na bado nitasema. Fabish, for now take over please.
Thank you NMSQ. Umeongea tena vizuri sana. Kwanza, it is perfectly clear. There is no way utaniambia una support Raila na usupport Ruto. You know, ndio nasema zingine tusibebane kijinga. And that is why, unajua haina haja the whole space hapa uje unumishe kichwa ukituzungusha ukituambia mambo ya, you know, mtu kama Escowino, very well educated, I respect him so much. Lakini sometimes unakuja unatafutia mtu kazi 8-year-old man. Yes, I know huwezi kwenda kumpigia kura, anapigiwa kura na head of states. Lakini that view alone kuja hapa, you know, na kuteka our time telling us about, you know, you see that fear that you are instilling, that if kwanza unatuambia hatuwezi enda street sababu Ruto atatua, alafu unatuambia Raila akiwa hapa hatuwezi kumtoa Ruto. You see, it is actually resonates that you are driving certain agenda to instill fear. Yani you are instilling fear to people kwamba hawezi kumtoa Ruto kwa street na hawezi kumtoa Ruto kwa ballot as long as Raila yuko. Kwa hivyo hii agenda bwana, sisi tunaangalia. ukiongea unasikika ni direction gani unaenda. And that is what I will not, like that unichomeshe kichwa ukianza kuniletea mambo ya kila kitu kwako ni impossible. I fail to understand. Everything to you is impossible. Streets is impossible. Raila akiwa kwa politics ni impossible. Then tukae kweli hapa tukichomana akili. Hapana. Hatuwezi kwenda namna hiyo. We have said, I have always been very consistent and very clear. Me, I am for the street. And I don't have problem for the civic education or any other method that people want to use. But I don't understand why someone will be touchy when it comes to the street, and yet you say you are supporting the movement. You fear to die. Let those people want to go to the street, go to the street. You continue with your comfort in your safest heaven, removing Ruto. Then let people who are ready to fight. That's why not all of us are military, but you have people who are military because they're ready to defend this country. But not everyone have that zeal. So in as much as si kila mtu ni mwoga na si kila mtu ni daring, lakini kwa nini sisi ambao tunasema kwamba street is okay, and then tunasema pia civic education is okay. Esko wino ukitaka wakati unafanya civic education, we support you. Continue with civic education. But the trajectory, your kind of line of thoughts, inasema vitu different. Ruto is now with Raila. Anyone that supports Raila supports Ruto. That is for the fact. Unasema mkampeni Raila, lakini umekuja umetuambia, ulikuwa unajua manifesto akina Musa Faki, hata manifesto Amina Mohamed. What does that tell us? That now Raila, we know his manifesto because he's the best candidate. I have been even having a view, kwanza. Hata in fact, hizo pesa Raila anatumia kwanza kwa campaign. That is another wastage of money that we should not even incur. In fact, even we should be even calling another protest. Why should the government use a lot of money to look job for someone? That African post of a thing does not have any impact in our country. The AU ni kama ile chama kina mama, haina any impact. The countries, the member countries refuse to cede the sovereignty to that AU. They don't have a bank, they don't have a military, they don't have anything. And then we are spending billions of money campaigning for someone kwenda kupata kazi ati ndio Kenya, ati asitusumbua hapa Kenya. Who the hell is he? So you see that kind of mentality. And then sasa mi Fabish akisema kuwa we cannot waste time on those things, then sasa mtu atakuja asema, lakini mimi bado nashikilia kwamba if you are supporting Raila, you are a supporter of Ruto. Tuache kudanganyana hapa. And I will not sit on one platform that you are discussing Raila. When you are supporting Raila, you are supporting Ruto in another language. You just come in a different form. Tuliongea hapa tukasema we are beyond tribal. So esko usikae unasukuma agenda ya nani. So the real nilikudrop because ulikuwa unaongea hapa na kuambia huwezi kuniambia unakuja hapa kwa space alafu you don't have opinion, but you are here to very easy to criticize. When you are criticizing, give opinion that can give the way forward. That is a meaningful conversation. But you cannot come here, you are criticizing, Fabi you call maandamano, you not go for maandamano, maandamano haikufanyika, watu watakufa nini, but you cannot give the way forward. Then there is no need for you to talk. So mitaendelea kukua radical hivi until we understand each other or we fail to understand each other, and then everybody can do things. And that's why nilisema it is not necessary that we can have common grounds. I never have issue with people doing civic education at all, and I've never criticized people doing civic education. I never even one day criticize or mock them. Even as I always call for the street action, but I never criticize people doing, I even support. When they are doing all the spaces, I join the spaces and I give my opinion. Because that is one way of fighting the regime. But when someone come and fight for people that go for the street, hata kama ni watu watano wameamua kwenda, mbona ipo uchungu kwako if you are not driving a government agenda? Wacha nipatie the real, alafu wacha nipatie Daria twende kwa the real, alafu tukuje kwako Escoino.
So mi nilikuwa nataka kuuliza, there is a part that made me very, very confused in this conversation earlier. If I can digress and just a little bit go back to that point. Kuna mtu mentioned that they don't know the people who are vying for this chair, and they do not know what their missions are. I would like to add the people who are here, if you're confused if Raila is the most qualified for this position, please go on the African Union Commission website. Each and every candidate has a CV in different languages, whatever it is that you do understand. Enda tu usome. Ndio watu wakikuja huku wakisema I don't know the other guy's manifesto is because they've chosen not to know the other guy's manifesto. They've chosen to not know. So watu wakikuja huku wanawasell ati I don't know the other guys, what they're about, but I'm gonna support this guy blindly. Tusiseliwe that kind of business huku. Na hata sisi wote, kila mtu yuko na simu hapa tu, kwenda tu Google usome each and every CV. Ndio watu wakikuja huku wakiwaselia that kind of stuff, you look at them, you laugh, either you ignore and move on, or you give them the points and then you move on. Because what mimi I'm urging sisi wa Kenya, and part of, I guess, my little civic education, get informed. Enda mwenyewe ujitafutie information. Ukikuja huku, if you can pass on the information and show people where the information is coming from, they can pass it on. Because we're just regurgitating stuff out here. And that, tukikuwa sisi wote, we are seeing what is in front of our face, not what somebody else has gone and twisted. We can actually have a common ground. Because ukisoma hizo vitu, unasema, okay, mimi na agree, mimi I stand by this person's ideology. But at this point, we don't even have an ideology that we can say we all like, at this point, we have like minds. Because even right now, as it stands, to even choose amongst any of the people that are like vying for this 2027 seat, honestly, none of them for me are qualified. So hopefully they're going to show their true lights when that time comes, if that's what we are heading to. Kama tutamtoa before then. That was like my main point. If you're not aware of the people, just go on the website. It gives you all their information. Thank you, Fabish.
Thank you. Asante sana. Yes, of course. People, they just choose what it suits them. Because I believe, yeah, the information is out there. If you want to see anyone's profile, their education, their qualification, their CVs, they are out there. And you can be able to compare and contrast. Yeah, the real.
Yeah, I think I would wish to make a few things clear that I've been trying to push all along, and I don't know why you would see inconsistency in my.
Can you hear Rinjo?
Yeah, we can hear. Maybe labda nini, we can hear him very clear.
So me what I wish to say is a few things. I believe that for us to be able to achieve some very, very fundamental gains and massive gains as we wish, because there's nobody, majority of Kenyans are not happy with this regime. For us to be able to achieve massive gains as we want, we must have and we must structure the movement in a particular way. What do I mean? And this is what I always allude to. And I'll give you this with an example. A friend of mine goes to Nairobi hospital and finds a lady crying. And this lady is crying that she's not able to get medication because of Chief and Sha, because of some other reasons. And this person asks this lady and tells this lady that, so you see, this is the problem of the government. And this lady turns and says, no, shida si serikali, shida ni huyu daktari, na naona huyu daktari, na nimemwona tangu niingie, huyu daktari hataki kusikia maneno ya watu. This guy is like, huyu daktari si ndio ameleta Chief, ndio ameleta Sha. Ati hapana, huyu daktari anafaa tusikie. There's someone who is feeling this pinch, but still does not believe that is the problem of this regime. And those are some of the people, and there are so many out here in Kenya. So many. There are people who are feeling the pinch of the economy. They are feeling the pinch. But siku wenye wanatuona tukienda maandamano, they are also complaining, mbona mnakuja kutaribia biashara. There are so many of those people. When we were talking about this maandamano 21st, we have been pushing this maandamano from a very long time. I think from about 2 weeks back now. Tumekuwa tukipush this maandamano. It has been pushed, and I've not seen people take responsibility about these protests. That's what I was trying to say. We need to enlighten and illuminate each other. And I'm giving you again an example. On Wednesday, I'm calling a few people, and me have said, and I've categorically said, na nitarudia tena, I can account for myself and the people I were with in the streets. And I've never disappointed when it comes to go to the streets. And even yesterday, my space here at Subui, we never did it. We only did our space today again. Because whenever that clerical call is there, I don't see a problem with going to the streets. Of course, kuna wale watu wanaogopa, achana hata na kifo. Kuna watu wanaogopa hata hiyo mlipuko tu ya ile tear gas ikilipuka pap. You will disperse them, they will run away, they will disappear, they will never come back again. The people who are afraid of those kind of things. I'm giving you an example, practical example. On Wednesday, I'm looking for people. I'm calling a few friends of mine. And I'm telling you this because I've said before again, I've been a member of Bunge ya Wananchi, Jivanji. Nileta kwenda huko because of my own personal reasons. And I used to go there every Thursday. Natoka kwa ofisi yangu Westlands nakuja mpaka Jivanji. And I don't care, and I always go there. We used to mobilize. And I will tell you, the way we used to mobilize to go to the streets is different. Right now, we are mobilizing in a different way. We like to mobilize online. I don't see a problem with that. I castigated someone last week about Imandamana 21st, and I told them, if you want people to turn out, try and also mobilize from the ground coming up. Nikagombanishwa, nikawacha. But me, I will always do my part. I will always do my part. You part of my ikifika, you will see me there. I will be there. I don't have to go there and I start taking pictures and post for you online. You will see me there. I will be there. And I will account for myself there. If you want me to account for myself there, I will account for myself there. The problem that we have is if we try and package our messages the right way. Because there are people who have been scared today. Ni vile tu watu kama sisi we are hardcore. Me am hardcore bana. Hakuna kitu mtu ataniambia that will terrify me ama nini. Ama hata unitukane aje. At the end of the day, the problem that I am feeling, the pinch that I'm feeling, the difference between me and you, hata tukosane tukutukanane aje. The pinch that I'm feeling that this government that is being brought by this regime, and I don't want it is me who is feeling it. And I will fight for my country in the best way I know how. So whoever tells me whatever, we will not give up. But there are people who have given up because of being called sellouts as well. And we must recognize that. There are people when wameacha to participate on the movement these days because wamebrandiwa sellouts even when they were not sellouts. That's something also we need to come to terms with. But what I'm saying is, we have mobilized before. Wednesday nikijaribu kumobilize a few people, most of them were not for it. And those who were for it, we decided, me and the people I was trying to mobilize, I told them, mimi kama nakuja kukuchukua mapema, because me, I like to go there mapema, nione venye ground iko, because again, I've seen how these policemen behave for the last few mandamanos. So it is good to always, and yesterday I was almost having my brother arrested with a civilian cop because of some very stupid mistake. Yesterday, if you were in the street yesterday, these guys wamekaa kwa restaurant huko juu, civilian cops wamekaa kwa restaurant hapo hivyo juu, wanaangalia watu, Wengine wamesimama hapo hivyo, you see one person, two people na makaki. Unajua kujua polisi ni rahisi sana. Na hizo makaki zao na hizo sport shoes zao and the jackets. Very easy to know them with some with the face mask. And we like to do that because you go there mapema, you can even give people direction. Where sahi kuna watu wanatembea hapa hivi Kimathi Street, msiende hivyo Kimalamala, mtembee hivi. That's what we do. But the most important thing these days, protests don't really have to be organic. You will wait for organic protests. They will not happen. People mobilize. Even when I have said before that when I used to participate in protests za Raila would declare protest 1 month earlier and go around the country and mobilize and now send youths kwa mtaa and people would mobilize. And that's how people would come out. And I wish we would mobilize. We would come out and take responsibility and mobilize. And I would not castigate anyone who does not go to the street, but it still resonates with everybody in the movement. I will tell you, going to the street also, could see not everybody has the courage, but there are people who will support. There's people who have been sending messages and supporting. Okay? Even though I don't wish you to support me, I don't wish to be supported in that way. I'm going to fight there because I know what I'm going to do there. But there are people who have been supporting, there are people who have been sending other people fare, and then mkunywe maji, and then mfanye hivyo, which is very good because they are not able to be there. What I'm driving at is we need to have a way, because at the end of the day, we have seen that there are people who have this pinch that we have. But if you tell them, let us go with this message, Ruto must go, when we go to the street on 25th, so many people came and it turned out well. People are going there anti-finance bill. If that is what can make people turn up, and we have those numbers, and I wish we would have done even more than just occupy parliament. And I would tell you also categorically today, on 25th, while we were occupying parliament, there were people who were in the streets, and Bakujuati parliament was breached while they were on the streets. They were on the streets, and they didn't notice that the parliament was breached, but it was breached. So at the end of the day, the clerical call that I wish to tell you today, I would wish that Kenyans are illuminated as much as possible. Who is the cause of the problems that we're having? Package this message well, depending on the place this person is coming from. This message is very significant. I'll tell you this today. As someone who has tried to mobilize before, I'll tell you the way message is packaged is significant. There are those people who have given up coming to protest because maybe sasa Raila aliwacha kuongea na hivyo. Those people, you can castigate them for being Raila fans, but they're very vital in pushing the numbers. Find a way you can get a message to them. Look for something that can resonate with them, that can make them turn out. We need those numbers. Try and look for something that, even if you don't agree with their mentality, but if you have something that can push them and rattle them and make them come out, look for that. And that's one of the reasons nimewambia mimi niliacha kwenda bunge. Because at some bunge jivanji ilianza kuwa na ujinga sana tangu Gaucho ameanza kusumbua vijana hapo hivyo. But if you can find something that can resonate with any person, the message cannot be one. Si kila mtu utaambia Ruto must go na atakusikia. There are watu wenye utaambia something else na atasema wenyewe, okay, by the hata mimi nilienda na shift. By the hata mimi kuna mtu wangu amekufa because of shift. That person will pick up. Even finance bill, there are people who supported finance bill because they are importers of vehicles. So there are people doing this. They may not support finance bill in general, but they supported one of them, just one thing. Kwa hiyo finance bill yenye inampinch, ile yenye tu inampinch, ndio ilimfanya turn out. That is my clerical call. Because we have mobilized, this is not the first time we've mobilized. We've mobilized before. And we might think that we failed. We didn't fail. Hata jana we didn't fail. Jana kama ungetembea town ungeona venye police wali mobilize resources na hizo magari walikuwa nazo hapo hivyo. You'd know that these protests, they take them seriously. And in fact, in my space in the morning, one of the speakers gave a very good suggestion and said, in fact, we should be calling for spaces twice a week so that they can put those police cars in the CBD or protest tuko wenyewe. Yeah, let them use their resources. A speaker gave that kind of suggestion. It was a very good suggestion. If you just call for protest, na watu wasiturn up, acha police wa turn up peke yao huko hivyo. Because at the end of the day, I don't see yesterday as a failure. I was in the street and I don't see it as a failure. And for those who are saying yesterday was a failure, you are wrong. And I wish you were there. It was not a failure. The town ilikuwa tensed. town ilikuwa tensed mpaka after president alienda, na after president alienda kila mtu alikuwa ashachana na hiyo mambo ya protest, you see. But during the morning before then it was tensed bana. Sisi tulikuwa tunakujua, tunaulizwa kwa gari, wewe nini, they don't want to see you, they don't want to see anybody, and that is what is there. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying, and I will repeat, look for message that resonates with each and every person. You need as many people as possible. And I'll tell you, some of the people who have withdrawn for this maandamano zenye tunaita are those people wenye mnatukana sahi Raila supporters. Some of them are there. Look for message that itampeleka hapo hivyo. Tafuta, bora aende hapo hivyo. Sisi utaki kujua. At the end of the day, if the protest is successful, it is successful. That is what we want at the end of the day. Na mimi nimekuwa forced sahi kuongea Raila kwa mdomo wangu. I never like to say that so many times. And I've just been forced to say that right now. But I would wish to also tell you that there are people you can touch in a different way. In a different way. Don't just go with one message. Not everybody will buy that one message. Hata pastor anahubiri kuhusu Elijah, leo kesho anahubiri kuhusu nini. That is what we need to do. Diversify, look for message that resonates. Hata wale watu wa Nyeri, tafuta hata kama ni kuambia kuhusu hiyo Gachagua wao. Mbona Gachagua ametolewa? Bora wakasirike na iwafanye wa turn up. Let that be the message. Tell them that is the message. Kama wale watu, look for message that resonates with everybody everywhere. And you might be able to mobilize as much. That is what I was trying to say. And that is what I will repeat. But I will also say categorically that Mimi, even if I don't agree, and by last week, I was not agreeing with almost everybody mwenye alikuwa anaita maandamano. But I would now challenge them, and I want to go to their inbox and answer to challenge wote. Account for yourself, because mimi your time last week, uliniita hivi ati mimi ni sell out. Account for yourself, because me I can account for myself. And I can account for the people that I work with. Now, that is what we need to do. But even though I would wish to castigate, I will not castigate them again. I will not castigate them. That is not my business. At the end of the day, I did not go to fight for them. I went to fight for myself. Until we make everybody believe that they are fighting for themselves, they are fighting for what is pinching them, then we will not have a proper revolution. That is what I've been saying. That is what I'll keep saying. And it's what I preach even in my spaces, anywhere. And that is the message. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That is the real now that I know. That is the real that I know. The spirit. I know you have always been. Yes, I admitted I came to where actually the real was in another space. Nikaja nikamwambia, hey, the real. Wewe uko hapa na, I think hata sijui alikuwa na co-host. Nikamwambia uko hapa na watu wanaongea kuhusu. No, he told me nakuja sasa. You know.
Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Maybe you drop again and request the mic. So thank you for that spirit, the real. I want to agree with you, and everyone agrees kwamba jana it was successful, and we need to keep this government.
It seems like I'm not able to reach Fabish. Koinos, you just go and your hand is up, and thank you, Ridjo, for highlighting and coming up with your story, like to avoid miscommunication and all that. So we just go around that, and I will be talking maybe after 1 hour. But Kowino, go on. Me, I'm a good listener. I like listening.
Do you hear me, Jabunji? Okay, yeah. So I agree. We have to be calling this regularly, hata kama ni every Tuesday. Kama vile kitambo Raila alikuwa anasema machozi Tuesday. You know, they will keep on getting tensed, you know, and they will know that Kenyans are vigilant. Escowino. Alafu ndio tuende kwa Kefax, a new speaker.
Bobby, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Escowino.
Okay. Number one, I want to clarify that I'm not a Raila sympathizer, but if that is what people want to believe, especially you, that maybe I'm supporting Raila, that I feel him, maybe sorry for him or anything, that is not the case. And I said whatever I was saying was my opinion, and I said me like I'm not sold. Again, to Daria, to answer your question, I did not say he is the best candidate. The manifestos I asked for were from the previous candidates, not on this particular election. I know that on this particular election, people have checked out. lastly, I don't want to make this a monologue or a lecture room or anything like that. Lastly, I want to say that can we stop making this revolution about what Kowino thinks and maybe what because if Kowino thinks that maybe streets is not the only way, then it's Kowino dividing the movement. Can we all try to make this movement successful in whatever way we can? Kama wewe unaweza through the streets, please explore that. Kama mwingine anaweza through civic education, do that. Kama mwingine anataka kuvaa EMP, do that. Like, just do what can make revolution successful. Siku tutakuwa tumetoa must go kwa kiti, tukuje to celebrate wote. Can we just make it about that? Because tangu tukuje hapa imekuwa tu like about Kowino thinks this, Kowino thinks that, Kowino thinks this, Kowino thinks that, Kowino is supporting Raila, Kowino is supporting whoever. So can we stop making it about Kowino? Ukifungua space for Bish, come and tell people what we want people to do. Then those who agree with your side of the story, wenye wanataka maybe wafanye the streets way, waifanye the streets way. Sisi wenye tuna feel tunaweza ifanya maybe civic education way, tufanye. Wenye tunataka hata kuenda kwa space za usherati, watu waende. Like, let people do what can make the revolution successful in whichever way they can. So that is equal, like we have to go one way. If we go one way, maybe atuta make. If we explore all possible options, maybe that is the way we'll make it. But tuache kukastigate watu just because I think we should go this way. Fabish thinks that now maybe I'm a sellout. Just because Fabish thinks the other way. Fabish, like the other way you were saying here, the other day you were saying here that Nani, anaitwa aje, Joseph Boynet works at State House. He gives the name of people to be abducted. Now, if I even ask you today, if you know this information, you should be alerting those people that are going to be abducted, because it means you know those people that are usually going to be abducted. Will you be a sellout now? Because if you have that sort of information in Amanisha, you have a very good source of information that in Afata equal alert, tomorrow Daria will be abducted. Now you tell Daria, they are coming for you. Have you ever done that? So let us not even castigate each other. Let's just do any possible way a revolution. Because everyone has their own source of intel. Now imagine your type of intel is straight from State House, that Joseph Boynet, former police IG, is working there and giving DCI and Kina Farouk Kibet information ya kukidnap watu. If you can learn that sort of information, it means you can know who is going to be abducted even before they are abducted. Now, instead of maybe saying to form military who stop abductions, we can alert those people that are going to be abducted before they are abducted. We can go that way. This revolution will be successful in whichever way. So kila mtu afuate tu route yake, bora tuna fight for the same cause. I want Ruto out, you want Ruto out. Mambo na Raila, sawa, let Raila fail sasa. Nimegundua maybe when he fails, it will favor us even more. I've realized that. So I'm not in his bandwagon. Maybe nimebuy hiyo idea yenu. Maybe akianguka hiyo kiti, it will be good for Africa and good for Kenya. Thank you.
Fabish, allow me to kick in. Fabish, just 1 second. Just 2 minutes. Kowino, thank you so much for that. And real Joe, because I'm just here for like 5 minutes, then I'll be back after 1 hour. This is what I wanted to ask the listeners. If I use the enemy's hand to catch the snake, does that make me a bad person? You know, can we all agree that we have the same motive, and our motive or end goal is to get rid of Ruto? See, the end sometimes does not justify the means. So we have to put that at the back of our mind. That's why I would always support anyone who is of the same opinion that we need to get Ruto out. Whether you are doing civic education, whether you are on the ground demonstrating, whatever it takes, whether you send a fare or we fund Morara, at the end of the day, let's all agree and come to an agreement and unite against Ruto. If we can do this, then I think we can win this fight easily. Also, let's allow anyone to speak their mind. And Kowino, I like the part where you say that we should never underestimate the followers of Raila. Let's be realistic. Raila has a lot of followers. That's why I asked someone yesterday, and I asked them a very simple question. Like, assuming the finance bill that was rejected on 25th June was brought in today, as we speak, with Raila in the government, what do you think would have happened differently? As much as we are saying that most of the demonstrators were organic, we have to also give credit a little bit that There is one guy in Kenya who has the monopoly of violence. And this guy has a lot of brigade. And would always love Fabish to listen to his followers and try to convince them otherwise. I want to see what is this thing that we lack a movement that we can buy onto. See, as someone who is not too much religious, I would say that I try to borrow the good things across religions that work for me, and I try to get the logic behind it. If there's something good about Islam, I will pick 2 or 3 things. If there's something good in Christianity, I will pick that too. You understand my point? So by doing that, we come with a hybrid movement that after collecting all the data like we are doing, we have something that will form our ideology. Because going by what we have now, we are fighting siblings, but at the end of the day, we should come home and hug each other and be brothers. Let's not lose that aspect. Let's keep fighting for the same thing and never, never try to underestimate somebody's fight towards the common goal. Then we will have said that all of us, we are fighting against Ruto. Thank you so much. I'll be listening. And Fabish, it's all yours.
Thank you for that. Before I give Kabin, I agree what you are saying. And, Escovino always trying to be controversial. In as much as, he comes here, he talk of Raila, then he come here, he says it's not about me, it's not. But he was the one castigating those people that are going for protest. But now he's coming here. The reason why we call you out is like that. And when you talk of, yes, in these spaces, we get intel sometimes. Even the same intel was shared by Martha Karua and other people. So you cannot just tell me because we get intel and this and that. That is why I said, when you are trying to hide something and hiding yourself, behind something, it is always difficult for you to drive the point that you want to drive. And for people that saying Raila have supporters, the person that we are fighting even equally have supporters, but we don't care. And in fact, you have the highest supporters because supporters of Raila were 6.8. And the person we are fighting, they are 7 point something. So why do we think that now we can triumph the supporters of William Ruto and then we cannot triumph the supporters of Raila Odinga? So if you are still in this country and yet you still want to align yourself with personality, we don't even have that time of pacifying you. Let us be honest sometimes. The person that we are fighting is not a chief, is not a MCA. It's a president that was elected also by good number. But we are fighting him as individually. The supporters are getting to align themselves with the situation that is happening in the country. So if Ruto supporters are understanding what is happening in the country and staying aside, why would it be difficult for Raila supporters also to understand what is happening in the country and know that it is not about Raila, it is about them and their country? So we should stop seeing Raila as a demigod or as a kind of, like people who are saying Raila is a spirit or Raila is a ghost or whatever he is. You have supporters. For what now? What are you supporting for? People now need to support their lives and their children. Yeah, Calvin.
Okay, thank you very much, Bwana Fabicho and members. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening to you.
Yes, first of all, I feel very much disappointed the way we are making our speech because our speech is somehow is not helping this nation. We are here to help this nation. When I heard the speech of my brother Koweno talking about Raila as followers, I don't disagree with him on that, but I agree that he has followers. But right now, what is disturbing our brain is this country. Where will this country go to? Because if we want to hang on somebody's coat, and that somebody is also there fighting to get something which we know, all of us, we can't put our brain there. Number one, all of us, we must now combine our brains and we must find what is this country need of. We are in need of justice. We are in need of equitable share. We are in need of our better lives. So for this time, we should condemn a politics which cannot bring a tangible development to this country. We want a politics which can bring something on this country. Because right now what we are seeing in this country is politics of impunity, politics of just stamping, politics which even to describe where people are has gone. Huh? Huh? Ile siasa tulikuwa tunapiga kitambo imepita. Hii ni siasa sasa ya dijitali. Haifai tunapiga siasa ambayo haiwezi leta maendeleo. We need politics of development. So Mr. Koweno, please, I know nimejua nimekuchokoza, lakini let us talk reality. We are not here to hang on Raila's coat. We are not here to hang on Ruto's coat. We are here to hang on our constitution of this Republic of Kenya. That is what we want to hang on. Because we have seen these leaders are really failures. They are really failures. They have their own personal interests. They don't want development. Because when I compare the notes which Raila talked the other time, you compare the notes with the speech now he's delivering the right at this time, it's very different. So it tells you that these are the just same. We call it the birds of the same feathers. They're just flocking together. So we cannot hang our coats on those people. So what I can say is this: if you have not arranged yourself, these people on these spaces, if you have not arranged yourself, go and arrange yourself. We don't have candidates right now who is going to vie for the president. Put your candidate on a table. Second to that, we want our constitution, constitution ought to be our constitution ought to be followed. Not the constitution which is favored some people. We want our constitution to be given respect. That is the problem we are facing in this country. So I ask all of you, wacheni kufuata watu. Kaeni na akili yenu vile mko na akili yenu. Hii Kenya tumechoka na hii Kenya sana. Hata Kenya hii kama ningebadilishwa ID, ningetoka kwa hii Kenya, ningeenda kwa nchi fulani. Kwa maana ID yangu ilivyoandikwa Kenya, itabidi nikae kwa Kenya. Lakini tukae watu ambao wanajua demokrasia ni nini. What is democracy? Democracy is not about somebody. Democracy is the will of people. You do what you desire. But hakuna haja ya tujipambe na yale ambayo haiwezi kutusaidia. Kama mnataka kuorganize military, hiyo ni haki yenu. Lakini unaorganize kwa wale ambao wanakudefend. Lakini it is your right in the constitution that the government must give you a protection when you are demonstrating. It is in the constitution of Kenya. Sio asiana wanada kwa kidnap tena. That is illegal. So that is my point. Nikikosea mtu nimeomba msamaha, lakini sijaona nimekosea mtu. Hata Mungu ameona nimesema tu ukweli. Asanteni sana. Kwane space boroka to Miriam bongenye space. Eh, pesa nyolo yo
Yeah,
miriambo.
thank you. Mau Mau.
Yes, good evening, Fabish and everyone. I'm I'm elated by the discussion that is ongoing. You know, it is always good to say the truth. But indeed, there is what some of us feels, and there is what you may feel as a person, which might contradict others or other feelings. You know, I don't understand why we keep on castigating somebody's opinion, and I don't understand why we always want to see the mini me in somebody's else. You know, in other words, why would I like my character to be seen in somebody's else? It's always something that keeps bothering me. If you think that your way is the only way, then it tells me that then you are a kind of a dictator. You know, there is no way we can stick to a single. There is no way we can align ourselves to a single opinion, a single way of thought. The
Mike ban.
The reason why we are unique is because we can reason differently, argue differently, and give divergent opinions. Those who are saying yesterday was not a success are only doing so to validate their opinion. Those who are saying that they never we should not call for maandamano, I don't think they are genuine in their call. Yesterday was indeed a success. For those who are around, they saw the tension that was there. The reason why even Mr. Ruto had to act the way he's now acting is because of the push by the general citizenry. We keep on calling for accountability, maandamano, either on the street, on Twitter, on Facebook, and even in the courts of law. And as you can understand, as we speak, there are several cases that are in court that has been sponsored by some of us who are still on these spaces. So we have to, and this is what I always keep on advocating, that let's continue pushing for this one singular goal, that we want good leadership. I got to hear one saying that we require Ruto out. Yes, we require Ruto out, but also we require somebody who is going to steer this country forward. And we don't want somebody who is going to come there as a cover-up. The reason why I've been always against Gachagua, Uhuru, and the ideologies, and the reason why I was so much perturbed and disturbed by the behavior and action of the people of Embu last weekend is because they are so gullible to be duped that what was happening to Gachagua is genuine. And now they want to validate and, bring something, bring sympathy there. I also saw them applauding the former president, who to me lied to Kenyans, and still Kenyans don't learn. I said here, if he was genuinely supporting Raila, he was supposed, and if genuinely if genuinely knew that Raila was the best person, he was supposed to sponsor a candidate in Central Kenya, a candidate who is going to get vote. Central Kenya and Mount Kenya in general was Ruto's stronghold. Any vote that could have gone to any other candidate was weakening Ruto. So if he was to do that, definitely Raila could have won. And you saw the margin with which Ruto won with. So Uhuru never supported Raila directly. He was doing so, he was supporting Ruto indirectly. Number two, and I come from Mount Kenya, I'm telling you that there is no way, and I state this with a lot of affirmation and conviction, that there is no way Kenyans from that region will ever again wait to be given direction. The people of Mount Kenya want to preserve their interest, and their interest is in business. Having said so, there is no reason as to why Mlima or people from Mount Kenya would like to follow anybody who is leading them to somebody who is going not to consider the so many atrocities that happened in previous regimes. We are talking of the killings. We are talking of the lootings from Moi, Kibaki, Uhuru, and now the current regime. Looting happening right, left, center. Killings happening from our children to our women. You could see all manner of evils happening, but that is secondary to the ruling class. And that is why, as we fight and look for somebody who will steer us after this debacle or shenaniganism that we have, we need somebody who is going to bite the bullet and hold all those who have been ahead of him or her accountable. Because it is only that we are going to get our Kenya in the right direction. I am afraid because that can only happen through a revolution. Because the candidates that we keep on giving or presenting unto ourselves don't qualify to those standards that they can be able to hold the politicians and the leaders that have been ahead of them accountable. Always, every time there is an election, you saw during the transition of Kibaki to Uhuru, there were some dubious other deals. And eventually we got to learn that the election was stolen. Look at now what happened during the transition of Uhuru to Ruto. Again, similar thing. Similar thing. So what am I saying? That these people will always work in a way to bring an individual who is going to cover and take care of their deals and ordeals, things that they have done in their regimes and things that they are going to do in the current regime. So, fellow Kenyans, we have to be very observant, alert, vigilant as we ventilate this important matter ahead of us, and as we, interview the right candidate who is going to take the mantle after we get rid with Ruto. We need somebody who is above board. Somebody who is above board, somebody who is going to get us at least where we want, because we all know that we need good governance. And those who keep on asking us that what next, the next is that we want good governance. Whoever is going to take over, it doesn't matter hata kama ni jeshi, even if it's an army, whether if they are going to give us good education, affordable education, good medicines, medical services, and affordable health care, security to our nation, security to our kids, security to ourselves. As long as we are going to get that particular person, then we are good to go. But if we keep on circumnavigating around the same aspect of things that are bedeviling us as a nation, and still get glued to our kingsmen, then and tribesmen, then we'll go nowhere. I will attack anybody who is trying to pursue a narrative that it is only a Kikuyu or a Kaijin who is supposed to lead this nation. I always attack that we require a kingship or a kingmaker. Anytime we require to come up with a movement that is led by ideologies, facts, and action. That is what we need as a citizenry. Thank you, Fabish. I wish to learn.
Thank you, Mau Mau. So we go to Nicholas, then Lyson.
Good evening, Kenya. I will be honest with every one of us in this place today. Thank you, first of all, for the opportunity to speak in the space. It's quite a long time since I once joined one of these places to give out my mind. But about Ruto will lose elections, there's something about Kenyans that I don't think is going to change anytime soon. And that might complicate the desire that anyone will want to vote Ruto out. And just follow me in this analogy. Let us be truthful. When it will come to the time of voting, we will vote tribally, as we have always done. The political class will spread the Mutuyet narrative into our mind in whatever local setups we are in. or whoever you are, wherever you are, whichever place you are going to vote according to your tribe, according to the political directive you have been given by whoever is the point man of your tribe. That's how Kenyans have been voting. That's how they're going to vote, and that's how they'll be voting in future voting seasons. So about Ruto will lose is something that I don't think can happen unless we have a change in mind, a change of mindset about how we vote and who we vote. If we need people like Ruto to lose elections, people like him, by saying people like him, I mean people who would say anything to earn empathy and sympathy from the naive Kenyans, naive Wamama, naive youth, and naive villagers down there. People who know how to dramatize and earn sympathy from them. People like him. You know what they did with Uhuru, in their case, with the head? They used it to earn empathy and sympathy, and that's how they amassed some votes. He used sympathy, he used the sympathy attracting theatrics to play victim in the circumstances of the said handshake government, and he earned most of votes because he was being sympathized with. Another Ruto type kind of politicians are those who say anything to earn a vote. They promise anything to earn a vote. And they know that we are naive Kenyans. We don't think through anything statement that is said. And we follow naively anyone that can entice us with words. Another Ruto type of leaders and politicians that can still go ahead and vote are those that buy our votes. Think a minute about somebody who uses 60 million to earn an elected position of an MP, and somebody who uses up to 10 billion, even over, to earn the presidential election. If you calculate the 5 years with the salary, it does not make sense. But we vote people based on how much we are going to spend on our pockets as handouts. So people are willing to spend money, people are willing to lie, people are willing to play the empathy games on our psychology, are people that we are going to vote. So if somebody is going to tell me how Ruto will lose, then I cannot take him seriously because he's the type we always vote. We don't think through what they say. We judge a potential winner according to how much he's spending on us. You see, this guy even bought the church. This guy bought everybody, bought every opinion leader. He bought typically every political influencer in the country to his side. He worked so hard to buy people. He brought people into rallies, used money. Those are the people we are going to vote in. So if we want somebody like Ruto to lose the election, we must first of all lose our mindset of how we judge a leader, how we see somebody who can govern, how we, you see, it cannot just work. Because with the same Kenya I know, Ruto is now taking his foot off the mountain towards the lake. And everybody knows what I mean by that. With the lake and the Rift Valley, and definitely, if he still plays by the books he's trying to play with, then he's going to have the coast entirely, Western Kenya entirely. Based on how we always vote, he will have those. Then how will he lose? So me coming into this place this evening is not to discourage you on your perception or on your belief that you can be voted out. Of course, anybody can be voted out. If a miracle happens that we change our mindset. But from now henceforth, I said, and I have always been saying, in any space I have spoken about, I have spoken in earlier, that it is not the right focus on who shall win or shall not win. guys, can we focus on something that can work out better for us in the future? About we can vote in or vote out, there is still going to end up messing us up. Moi messed us up after Kenyatta. Kibaki tried. The Kibaki's grand coalition government, the government that came in after the constitution violence, was a bit better with us because it was a government of self-check. This side trying to automatic this other side. It was a government of accountability within itself. But whatever happened in the second term of Kibaki, first term of Uhuru Kenyatta, second term of Uhuru Kenyatta, first term of Ruto right now is a mess. And no one can write home anything good about it. So my point is, anybody that shall come into power, guys, will still mess us up, provided we have the rotten policies of governance in place. Right now, we should not be focusing on who will lose or win elections in 2027. No. Can we call for a constitutional review? And can we call on sanity in the judiciary and enforcement of laws of Kenya? Can we first of all tighten this constitution 2010 that has loose ends that anybody that gets into power gets to overuse against us? I'm still wondering why Senator Nyonka recently, just weeks ago, claimed that 71 million gets into State House every day from the Treasury. Who gives State House power to allocate funds like that to it? Who gives the presidency the powers to hire people in the name of advisors in excess of hundreds? Last the reports were that the deputy president that was just impeached had over 100 advisors. Because we all know that the president allocated the offices that are unconstitutional. We shouldn't be having office of the first lady in the first place. We should be having office of the first daughter. We should be having office of prime cabinet secretary and office of the fourth of the prime cabinet secretary. Those are offices that I don't know the powers that the president gets to create such offices. It's the constitution that gives. We need a constitution that restricts powers of the president. It should be written, the do's and the don'ts should be clear in the constitution so that no one has the powers to erroneously allocate funds and create offices that are not beneficial to us. We should check into that first before we go into who should lose and who should win. Secondly, we should check into Article 104, Section 2, I think, that gives the MPs powers to create legislation on terms in which they should be called out of the office by the people. Calling out an MP, recalling an MP is more difficult than recalling a president. Why? Because of Constitution 2010 that gives it. We should check into that first so that we can recall these MPs that are so incompetent to us. We should also make corruption a capital offense in this country. We should also make voter bribery and handouts during campaigns a capital offense in this country if we need to save situations. We must be in a position to arrest and nullify the candidatures of politicians who line up people for handouts during campaigns. If we need to change anything in this country, let us first of all tighten the constitution. It has a lot of loose ends. And bring sanity in the judiciary such that the constitution can be implemented perfectly. We should also check into the reason as to why State House alone in every financial year spends almost equivalent amount of allocation to all the 47 counties in the country. How can just office of the president, State House, spend over 400 billion when all the 47 countries are just struggling to be given a similar amount? I mean, is it even logical? That is just one office. That's just one residence hosting a president. Why should you be spending over 400 billion per year in the State House when counties that should be running on devolution are struggling to be approved similar amount. The constitution has a problem. If we are not going to speak about such things and still want to speak about who should lose, who should win, okay, Ruto lose, Ruto win, what changes? The next president comes, maybe, God willing, he loses. Then we have somebody else. He still gets the powers Ruto did have. He still gets the powers Uhuru and Ruto had previously. He still gets the powers that were there, that are given by the constitution, and nothing moves on. They still exploit it. Right now, we have a country whereby whoever gets into power, and these people, it is always their turn to eat, not to change anything, not to do anything for us. It's always their turn to eat. This government that is in place, the cabinet secretaries that were shuffled and some of them laid off. We remember just months into office, they are there in the television stations showing us what they have of a watch, what they have of a shoe, what they have of a shirt, of a suit. I mean, reports are that some of them running into Dubai, billions of money they're getting arrested there. Some are investing in Uganda, some are investing in Tanzania, some are investing in England. Billions of money every day. Last week, reports were from the Treasury that Kenyans are losing 2 billion every day into the hands of graft. What are we doing about it? If we can not speak about corruption being a capital offense and still speculate how Ruto will lose or will win, my friends, we're not speaking about the right thing we should be speaking about. And we are wasting time. Right now, we must push for constitutional reform. We must push for capital offenses to be made of corruption. I think I'll rest it there. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Nicholas, thank you for your submission. Let me get this chance to say hello to everybody on speaker, Fabish host, Daria, Lyson, Japonjo, Mzalendo, Nicholas, Wanjiru, hello everybody, and the rest of the listeners. At this point, I think Lyson was next. Go to him, and then Mzalendo. I see your hand is up, but if you don't mind waiting, Lyson speaks next, and then it's going to be you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, co-host. I think the previous speaker, was it Nicholas? I have listened to you, but you've taken us deep in 3 phases: whining, pessimism, and finally you have come up with your proposal on how to handle it. Let me start with the whining. You have been all of us have gone through that phase when this Maandamano started, and we have been whining. So the whining of saying what is not working, what is not whining, that is okay. It's acceptable. The pessimism that nothing can be happen, I think that's self-defeatist, because we are very positive, and that's why we're in these spaces and we're spending time. We are here because we believe we can remove Ruto. The same way we voted him in, the same way those who prayed, the same way those who campaigned for him campaigned, and we can remove him because we have all the reasons to believe he can be removed through constitutional and constitutional manners. The third thing you've said about your roadmap for, first of all, that we must deal with a constitutional review and removing MP. I want just to excite you by telling you, we are not, it's not that we don't know that is also a priority area. We are also trying to think of what can be done now in a way to keep pressure to Ruto until we either have 2027 or, if possible, have him surrender to the pressure earlier. The reason why I'm telling you that is because you're speaking about having a constitutional review. That's another monster. Do we have an IBC to conduct the constitutional review? We don't even have an IBC. So how can we start thinking about crossing the bridge? And Ruto deliberately He's using those tactics. And you have said very well. He's using political tactics and delays and tribal cards, of which we know. But how do we start talking about judicial reforms? Yet already all the judiciary is in his pocket. You saw what happened in the Gachagua case. They met at night. They did that. How can we as citizens be able to remove that judiciary without mandamano? What is the legal ways for us as citizens of Kenya now to remove the judiciary? How can we do a constitutional review without collecting signatures of millions and them being verified by IBC for us even to do that reform of you're talking about for us to win to? So I am not trying to disagree with what you're saying, but I'm just telling you we're in such a mess as a country, so that some of the ideas that we may be having, like those ones, cannot work. They're not practical. In other words, what we've been talking about here. Because already there are enough the chess has already been laid, so we can only topple the table and call for a fresh game, or continue playing in a chess game where all of us are in a checkmate. So in my submission, and it's good you have ended with a proposal, is we have also wasted 4 hours here talking about useless things, personalities, who has done what. Guys, let's continue focusing on this kind of a discussion with what strategies can we employ now. One of the things that is working and the things that are not working, we can drop them or enhance them and move forward. One of the things that I want to encourage all of us is working, is the online warfare. Nobody should come and tell us through online we can't achieve much. Now put there on Jumbo Trail, there's an organization that does the most corrupt persons in the world. It's up there. You can take a moment, you can fill in. It's always good for Ruto to be featuring in all the negatives in the world, because we must keep him the world map as an anarchist, a looter, and we must deconstruct him in the world stage so that we continue usurping his credibility that he had tried to create in the first year by having almost 100 trips in 1 year. So that is working. So the online warfare must go. I think the next thing we'll be talking about right now is what is the next hashtag? Now that we are done with the Dani, what is the next thing that we need to put collectively that everybody can participate on now? Because some of these things that we are trying to say, like constitutional review and what, are things that require some sort of professionals, some sort of order, and they're not easy. So that may require a small group initiative, a set of lawyers, a set of academias. Nicholas can take up the challenge and say, what is the formulas we can use? Because we can't use parliament. We have evaluated that. All the parliamentarians have been jumping how high whenever Ruto requires them to applaud. You remember the other time when, after Mandamano, when Ruto said he has dissolved the cabinet, they were clapping behind him. Before that, they were saying the bill is okay. So we don't have a parliament, in essence, that can remove Ruto, and that is the constitutional way. The other way is through Katiba. We don't have an IBC. So do we start with lobbying for an IBC now, of which Ruto and Raila will have control, or what do we do? So those are things that may require a bit of technical. Why we're in these spaces is probably to help the smaller groups can be able to be coming with something more concrete. The issues like the ones you've raised may require some technical input from professionals. If that is probably organized, and a few of us or a few of you can organize and bring it as a proposal to the multitude, or to the many of us who are not very conversant with deeper things like those ones, then we can evaluate and give us a tagline we can push. Because most of us here, the best thing we have is a phone and a constituency of 10 or 5 friends, or 100 or 1,000. We can influence for the movement. So I'll encourage that we try to look for things that can work for the majority of us. Those are things that are bordering civic education on particular sects, if it's femicide, if you're talking about voter registration, or taking IDs, on issues like, for example, that require the masses to participate. Those specialized attempts or proposals may have their own challenges. We know Third Way Alliance, Okoro Court tried Punguza Mzigo initiative. After collecting signatures, I think in 24 counties or something like that, 25 counties, and already IBC struck off, said half of them were fake signatures. So, Raila Odinga himself also tried to do a Katiba change. It never works. And those are very difficult conversation when you have a tyrant, so, or rather a government in place. So let's try to focus on low-hanging fruits that may require all of us. The hashtag of Meg Whitman was a good one. We achieved something. The win of Donald Trump was good for us. As much as we don't know how his presidency is, but we know there's going to be a dynamic, drastic shift on how they deal with the Ruto administration. The issues require talking about the three families or the four families of the Uhurus, the Rutos, the Railas. Those are political cousins. I've said it here, I've even posted in the comments. These are political cousins. They are in birds of a feather. They operate together. It is just about interest. They can shift tables any other time. Let us try to think of how we can create a new dawn in Kenya with new set of leaders. And if we need to campaign drastically, for example, tutakula pesa yako, tutavotia maskini, or we want even to be as nasty as a war between the poor and the rich as a narrative, let it be. If it's going to help us in this movement, tuseme tutachagua waizi wetu, because four waizis have been stealing for us for 40 years. Now is that time for new thieves. So be it. I'm trying to say that let's be as open as possible on a narrative that will require the masses and will captivate very well and easily and simply with a majority. But those technical issues that may require processes that are oversighted by this government, we might also be wasting a lot of time. We have seen it in the courts. We have seen the case of, I don't support Gachagua, how it went. We have seen the cases of the finance bill. We have seen Omtata's fights in court. We are not saying we are not going to stop, but we know very well that is skewed negatively against us. So as much as we're brainstorming, let's try to brainstorm on what is it. And the idea can be as stupid as it can, but it can be effective because we are using unconventional methods to remove a conventional government or a tyrant. So I rest there, but I hope I'm clear on that submission, Calvin.
Mr. Lyson, thank you so much for that submission. You're talking about working and not working, two categories, and hopefully our speakers and the rest of the team, listeners can be able to chip in more stuff or their ideas of how they think about these situations. Leona, what was his name? Mzalendo alikuwa ameinua mkono and then amepotea. Sijui kama ako karibu. Mzalendo, kama uko kwa listeners, come back in and we'll give you a chance. At this moment, naona Daria ameinua mkono. So, Daria, pick the mic.
Hi, I just wanted to add a little bit na Lyson, what he was saying. I think the online thing needs to be, if like anybody is tweeting like back or responding to something that they're seeing, it's not effective when you just write just a comment. Tweet those organizations. Tweet the undersecretary, the ones that keep on coming to Kenya, whatever issue that is affecting. Add in the UN watch group, human rights watch groups, the African Union, and you see Raila under it. If you see me let's say, if you go to my things, when I respond to things, whether it be femicide, whatever it is, I go in and I try to, not even my comments, leave, because already the story that has been posted speaks for itself. But make sure all these, when you're tweeting all these organizations, you take your time and you just, at this point for me, I have it that I can copy and paste it depending on what situation that I am dealing with. So that makes it easier and it's more effective that way, because when you just write a comment, it doesn't get to them. But if constantly they are bombarded, that they're being, like put on a tweet, it's showing up on their notification, they cannot. So the more of us that are able to tweet in that manner, as much as people might call us keyboard warriors, the message is getting across. Kwa hii movement, I think tuna also kuwa very realistic. Na hapo ndipo mali tunakosea kabisa. We are not realistic. And we keep on trying to approach them using the law, using the constitution, but we've seen over and over again, like how many times does it have to be proven to us that we are just doing busy work? Even with these petitions, we're just doing busy work because they're still going. The court has been bought, parliament has been bought, everybody has been bought. So ile siku zenye tutafika tuseme tumeenda underground, ni ile siku sisi tutaweza kuwapiga, unless something miracle happens between now and then, because hiyo kiti atatoka peacefully. So I wish hii movement yetu tunaweza anza kudirect our vision in a different way. I really truly would like we attack them on different levels and truly not on the spaces. Because sisi ndio wenye watu kama mimi, yes, I might have a little freedom, but you know what? Hata huku ukisikia uko majuu, you think he doesn't have enough money to send somebody to come here and get any one of us? I don't know if you people are familiar, the family that was killed in the US, and even after today, nobody has ever been brought to justice. So what wanafaa kuwa tu just a little bit familiar with who we are dealing with, na realize the severity and the seriousness, especially that story of the Ugandan guy that even the US is acknowledging. I would add for most of you, because Kenyans, what they did was completely wrong. And mukifind your post, muna make sure the International Criminal Court umeongeza hapo, umewasisi. The US government umewasisi, because even them, they're also in with the story. The African, like kila mtu, usieta, don't even start with your comments. Now just people tweet and tweet smart is my main message. That is it. Let me not repeat myself too much. Thank you so much, Shara. Fabish, Broji, nice to see you. It's been a while. And thank you, everybody else.
I know, right, Daria. It has been a while. And you're right. This is, I like the points where we retreat and then we include other organizations like human rights, and Lyson talked about that. These are great points. We keep on fighting. So one thing, if you don't mind, you guys, can you repost this space on your timelines? That way you will attract more people to come in and talk. But kama unasikiza kwa listeners, omba mic, please, you're welcome to talk. Tupatie points, tuambie what is working and what is not working. Hakuna time limit right now. As far as I know, you grab a mic, ongea kama dakika 10, you talk. Make some good points. Let's have a conversation, a dialogue, and hopefully get more points. So, Lyson ukumina mkono, unless you have something to talk.
I was giving Daria 100, but anyway, ikafinya mkono, but it's okay. What I can just add as well on that point, guys, let's not lose hope. We cannot lose hope. What will our children do? Gen Zs who have died, what will it mean to them? That they just went there, offered themselves, and then the cowards in us, we took off because we are thinking. By the way, some of us know Ruto in person. He's a coward, I can tell you. That's why he surrounds himself with fools like Farouk Kibet and Sudis. People who can give him some courage. These things you're doing are shaking him to the core. The moment you see a president addressing the nation with snipers on the roof of KICC and other places, and with a private chopper, his own private chopper, hovering Nairobi. You have made your point. He's shaken. He's a coward. It just requires consistency. What is working is those of you who are good in spaces, continue hosting. Those of us who don't believe in going to the streets, street. Those who can believe that they can be able to do changes through katibas, the laws, or whatever, let's continue bombarding. This game does not have a formula, and nobody should lie to you. It's a question of our sovereignty. We are here to fight for our country and good governance, and we can do anything that will work and break away this government, let it be, including whatever propaganda you can come up with. Yeah. So we are in a political warfare where there are no rules per se, and nobody should come here to sell the fear that it is impossible to remove Ruto. Those who believe it's impossible to remove Ruto, there's better as well just accept and keep off, discouraging the rest, or just DM the speakers and give your points, or be part of the other side of the oppressor. But in terms of correcting each other, it's very healthy. We have good conversation, but in a loving way, like comrades, because comrades, as you fight, there are bound to be mistakes. There are bound to be judgment issues, or they're bound to be feeling that someone probably is betraying and is not. So those things should be ironed out, but it should not stick so much time. Like today, we have wasted 5 hours, almost 4 hours, fighting personalities and making it personal. Let's try to come with the points on what we can liberate our country. Those that can work, we do now, short term, long term, and mid range. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lyson. Nicholas, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Now, I appreciate submissions by Lyson, and actually, if somebody was following my conversation, I wasn't trying to discourage anybody from believing that root is removable. But I want us to, like Daria said, focus on the correct thing that can make us get a step ahead with this. And I have 3 suggestions. The first one, I've just said that we should start questioning the loose ends in the Constitution 2010 that gives the executive and the presidency so much powers that they do anything they want with our money and the powers vested on them. It might not mean that we can change the Constitution overnight or within a week or a month or a year, but if we need to do anything positive towards the laws that govern this country, towards making them work better for us, be formulated in a manner that helps the Kenyans, we have to start that conversation right now. We have to make everybody in power know that whatever gives them the excess power that they are using is displeasing us. Along the way, everything must always begin by a conversation. We must show the commitment and the will, and we have to make noise about it, that there are loose clauses in the Constitution that are not working for us. We have to start talking about that right away. Number 2, if we need to remove tyranny of power in this country, we must start by using our spaces to lay the positive message about voting correctly and voting wisely. We must, every one of us, take the lead in using your X, using your YouTube channel, using your Facebook channel, using any social media channel you have, and talking to your groupings. Lyson have talked. Some of us have a group of influencers, wherever you are from, the estate, the village, whichever, the town, the city. You have a group of 10 friends, 100 friends, or maybe you lead a church, you lead a choir in the church, you have a group of 100 people to influence. Start the conversation against tribal voting pattern. start the conversation against voting based on those who can give the best handouts, those who can give the best offers in terms of monetary bribes during the campaigns. We must start by creating sanity in this country so that by the time we need to vote out tyranny, no one will get back into the tribal cocoon of thinking to vote somebody just because he's a fellow man, to vote somebody just because he's a fellow Q, or is a Kamba, or because they're man.